This is the Analysis in Chains with Nathan Williams and Neil Kieran.
Welcome to Analysis in Chains. I'm Nathan Williams. Joining me today is Alex Dreyfus, the founder and CEO of Chiliz. Chiliz is a project that is tokenizing sports teams. It allows people who are interested in sports to vote on certain aspects that they want to change or to influence their sports teams. And they've already signed up a couple of sports teams to their main product, socios.com. Alex, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Nathan. Thanks for inviting me.
Tell us, how did you come to this idea of tokenizing sports teams?
It's actually, I would say, it came from our own failure. And what does it mean? We are actually based in Malta for the last 13 years. The company that is running this project, even though I hate that word, but that is running this product is based in Malta for the last 13 years. And we come from the online gambling industry. And for the last,
like most companies in Malta,
last 12% of the GDP in Malta, and sold our business in US to the US company 6 years ago. And after that, we invested a little bit in some like esports related and gaming related venture. And we did one thing called the Global Poker League, which was like a full esports league out of the game of poker. And over 9 months, we had like millions of people watching, and we created a great content, etc. But we had a lack of engagement and a lack of people like being vested and supporting the project. So we started to brainstorm for ourselves first. How could we make people more engaged into a content or into a sports content? And what originally started from our own issue, we eventually grow that to become a much broader platform. And we inspired ourselves from something that we didn't invent at all, which are called the socios of Real Madrid and FC Barcelona, which I don't know if you know, but this major football team or soccer team are not owned by billionaires. They are actually run by their members. Their members are called socios, which is in Spanish means members. And they're the one voting who's going to be the president, etc. of the team. And we inspired ourselves from that, trying to think how can we use this concept of giving a fan influence towards sports team, and especially a commercial sports team. And we created a platform that will be launched in a couple of 3 months, let's say, from now, called socios.com, which we acquired as well. And that will allow you to acquire what we call fan tokens. So we do like a fan token offering, FTO, for each sports team that we are onboarding. Sports team being soccer. We already announced Juventus. We already announced Paris Saint-Germain. We're going to announce a few more teams in a few weeks as well. Only top 10 teams in Europe. Mm-hmm. We're going to announce a few esports teams as well, because that's where we are coming from. The Chiliz project actually come from an esports background originally. And the idea is you will be able to buy fan tokens of these teams. And as long as you hold and you own these fan tokens, these digital assets, you can vote on decision that the club is asking you. So we agreed with the clubs that they have to ask their fans who are token holders decision, and they have to commit to the outcome of this decision. So for us, technically, what we call it's a fan influence platform, and the goal is to increase the fan engagement for all the sports teams that we are working with, which football teams are craving for because they have hundreds of millions of fans globally, the one we're talking to, and also to monetize their fan, because you are based in Germany, I believe. The Bayern of Munich is, of course, the biggest team and one of the most valuable brand. But yet, when you're gonna be in Asia, where they have like 90 million fans, you cannot interact directly with the club. You will never go in Germany to see a match. The best thing you can do is to buy a fake jersey, which monetize zero to the club. So the idea of creating a digital asset that give a voice that give a power to the fans globally is what we are pushing and promoting to the clubs.
This sounds like really interesting and exciting, but my first thought is that if you've got a token that is legally binding for the teams or contractually binding, maybe that I can vote on certain decisions, maybe the color of their jersey or something, wouldn't there be a danger of a Bodie McBoatface scenario where we change all of the logos to purple cows or the team slogan to something offensive or ridiculous?
Yeah, of course. So the answer obviously is no, for a simple reason: is the club is the one asking the question and putting the A, B, C, D answer. So they already vet the 3 or 4 choices that they're gonna offer the fans, and the fan has a defined choice to take. They cannot come up with an idea and say, "Hey guys, we're gonna vote," and it's gonna be that.
That would be amazing.
No, that will happen. I mean, we don't offer that yet, obviously, but for small clubs, we are looking at more, let's say, I would say intrusive on purpose decision, because for a small club, it's more easier to engage with your fan base than a club that is like a $500 million club. So obviously there will be a different balance. For now, funny enough, we started with the biggest clubs in Europe. That was our goal, because we thought that it's better to start from the top of the ladder and going down. It's more complicated, of course, but it is better in terms of volume and making this product hopefully successful. But then we're gonna add thousands and hundreds eventually of smaller teams. You could imagine that your own club yourself, if you do rugby, if you do soccer in your hometown, even though you have 500 fans or 1,000 fans, could eventually be part of that and could be engaged directly to this.
Now, why did you choose to do a fun token offering and to incorporate cryptocurrency into this type of project? Wouldn't it be easier just to have people sign up with a subscription?
So we don't use. I don't want to use the word cryptocurrency because I think it's misleading. The fan tokens are assets rather than a currency, meaning that to vote you don't have to pay every month, or you don't have to redeem your token. You just have to hold them. So indeed, it's more closer to a membership. But the idea was to create something that is very limited. The reality is, and it's the same with the socios in Madrid and Barcelona. You cannot, if you want to become a socios in Barcelona right now, you cannot. There is a limited amount of membership that you can only inherit from your family, or otherwise you have to go in a queue and stuff like this. It's very like structured and organized. We are not that hard, but the idea was to create something valuable. We go back a little bit from the collectibles as well. Sports fans love collectibles. If you were like you and me, we probably did Panini collectible cards 15 years ago, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. I don't know how old you are. But if you remember these cards that you can buy.
I was big into Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, that's a little bit different, but yes. But all this experience, this what we call emotional experience, is something that with the discussion we had with the clubs was making complete sense. And the idea that, let's say you print somehow 1 million tokens of Juventus, despite the fact that they have theoretically 300 million fans globally, which means nothing, but let's say that they have 10 to 40 million very active fans. Our goal is to convert a small percentage of that over the next 3 to 5 years to engage and acquire this digital asset and to make them part of the community that they are already, but to be more engaged into the space. And because there is also a gamification, we come from the sports betting industry. We being myself and the management of the company, we all have like more or less 5 to 10 to 15 years actually of online gambling as operators and regulated operators. And we believe that creating digital assets that are tradable, that's going to be valuable for the fans, become a game, and there is a very significant gamification part in what we are going to do.
It's really interesting. Now, you mentioned that you're getting into esports. I mean, it makes sense given your background. Are you looking mostly into things like poker, like you were talking about your background, or are you also looking into things like League of Legends or Dota or like?
Esports. We're gonna have if you go on Chiliz.com and you look at the team of advisors. which or has been involved since now February, so almost a year. We have, I would say, legends, Korean legends from StarCraft that are involved. We have a guy called Dr. Disrespect, which is one of the most famous Twitch streamer and Fortnite and PUBG player. So our focus is absolutely not poker. Poker is our background. We will have some poker element in the platform, but our priority is Dota, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, PUBG, Fortnite, all the major teams. League of Legends is a little bit more tricky because the way the company is handling the management of their sports events. But otherwise, we are talking only about the traditional esports and the mainstream esports product.
No, that's really interesting. I mean, I've always found esports to be one of those new and emerging industries, sort of like crypto. It's growing, but it didn't even exist before. So no, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So what's interesting is, it's for someone who have followed our project, as we call it, since 1 year. Our focus when we started to actually raise money was esports. And what happened is in June, when we are close to actually finalize our token sale, is we started to realize that esports is amazing. There is a great opportunity. I'm friend with a lot of CEOs and executives of esports team or publisher, etc. But the issue that we started to face when we were starting to work on the product is esports has a difficulty to monetize. I'm going to share with you a couple of stats. Is an esports fan spend more or less $3 to $5 per year in esports ecosystem. Let's say an NBA fan, it's $19. A soccer fan is $60. So the issue is, if you focus only in one sport, which is esports, the chance that our project being successful is very low. Because the monetization will take another 5 years, and that's the issue that are facing all the esports team and all the esports league. I'm not talking video game industry. Video game industry is $114 billion market, but the esports market is $1 billion. $1 billion is nothing. So that's why we actually shifted, I would say even pivoted to traditional sports first, and treating esports as one of the vertical and one of the sports.
It does make sense that it would be a smaller market. You have fewer live events with esports so far, and generally it's not regional. Like if you have a live event, the fans can come from all around the world, making travel much more difficult. So there are certain challenges for monetization, but as the population that is interested in esports ages, they get more disposable income. So I could imagine in the next years it being quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, I mean, we've invested in esports. We've actually invested in small teams as well that we're supporting. And the idea is it's not going to disappear. It's just going to grow. But we have to be pragmatic and realistic about the size of the market today and the next 3 to 5 years, and how we, as a company, we take a market share of that, and how we can generate revenue. And our decision has been to not be exclusive to one sport, the same way that sports betting industry are not exclusive to one sport.
Now, I want to go back to something that we talked about, just touched on very briefly before we started recording, that I wanted to ask about why you chose Malta and what the situation is like now. And because obviously the cryptocurrency industry got set up in Malta, the regulations came in quite strong, and so a lot of companies moved there. But now the market is much softer. So what's your experience like in the Maltese market?
Yeah, so in my particular case, it's a bit different because I've been here before the crypto regulation, let's say. I was here for online gambling regulation from 2006. And I stayed, even though in 2012 I sold my business, I could have moved, let's say, anywhere in the world, but decided to stay because of personal reason and the fact that I'm happy here where I live. The thing is, Malta is a great opportunity because it's English speaking, it's a Eurozone, it's very safe, 500,000 people. So in terms of setting up a headquarter, it makes sense. In our case, we are like 40 people here in Malta, for the office. And yes, a regulation happened and was enforced 1st of November. And bills have been discussed most of last year. And a couple of companies, more than a couple, of course, companies moved to Malta. Binance, OKX, Tron has set up some operation, CoinMarketCap, blah, blah, blah. Many vehicle and operators set up a shop in Malta, not like that they are moving their operation here, but more like they are setting up an operation here to serve Europe and sometimes to serve the world, but mainly to serve Europe. And the market is obviously as the price doesn't help at all, because if you've ever been, I don't know if you've been in one of these two massive blockchain conference that happened in October and November, where there was 4,000 to 8,000 people that were at these events. It was very, very hype. No, I can tell you that it's much less the case. And that's fine. To be fair, that's fine as well, because I think we need to mature, and I go back to the online gambling industry. It was very similar. I actually do believe that the crypto industry is gonna copy the path of online gambling in like many reasons, for regulation, payment, KYC, everything is the same. That's why you meet a lot of people with my background in that space, because we've been through that before. But Malta is a blockchain island, yes. Malta is allowing operators to do an ICO with a kind of, it's not a license, but with a registration. So it gives some safety, security, which you could argue that you don't want, in a way that some operators decided to not do an ICO in Malta eventually, because they feel that the regulation is too hard, and therefore they rather be in an offshore or tax haven, and etc. But it's the investors who eventually is going to have to decide where they want to invest. They want to invest in a so-called regulated vehicle where they can eventually chase and hunt down someone if they do something wrong, or if they want to go in a purely hidden offshore vehicle where, well, if you lose your money, you lose your money.
It's all very exciting, Alex. So what should we expect from Chiliz going forward?
Well, for us, it's all about the product. So we actually we are distributing our tokens this in the next couple of weeks. And funny enough, we do have to distribute the token. I would say almost as soon as possible, because we're gonna launch our product around April, like a soft launch, and a more like a commercial launch a little bit later. And we need the fuel of this platform, which are the Chiliz token, to be available to the market. So it's interesting, because we have a need to actually give the tokens and have the token to be on the secondary market, to allow users to eventually enjoy the platform that we are launching. For us, the priority right now is very simple, is delivering the product, onboarding more team. That's what I call content. We need more content, meaning that we are going to sign and announce major top 10 soccer team, esports team. We are talking in cricket in India. We are talking in baseball and basketball in Japan and China, because each country has a different culture in terms of sports. I'm pretty sure in Germany, for example, it will be probably also handball, or I don't know, another sports that could be big. But our priority is soccer. And once the product is ready, once we have like 10 to 20 major teams, then we are launching the product and supported by all of these teams. Don't forget, and if you go on our website, if you go on our Twitter account, you will see a lot of video and content supported by these teams. So it's not like we are saying we are working with them. No, we actually are really working with them, and they are promoting us on their Twitter. We are on the field of the Paris Saint-Germain. We've written socios.com, be more than a fan, blah, blah, blah. So we are working hard right now behind the scene for the activation of this partnership, and to deliver the product that we believe.
Great. And how can people get involved?
I guess at that stage, it's following us mainly on Twitter accounts. So you have twitter.com/socios or twitter.com/Chiliz, CHILIZ. And being involved either as a fan, well, you're going to have to wait for us to launch the product in order to buy the digital asset of these teams, or involved as an employee or job, please contact us. jobs at Chiliz.com. We are still hiring, dev especially. And if you want to help us in your country, please contact us as well.
Best of luck going forward, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks again.